Hello everyone, welcome to Tranquilly Coding. This is our 11th video of the series of creating a country code picker using Jetpack Compose. So in our previous video, we have created almost of the library. We tested mostly everything. Now in this one, I wanted to create something like this text field with the country code picker. Basically, my initial idea was to create without this text field, but as lots of time we will use this with the text field, it is better to connect with the text field. That will save us a lot of code when we do that. It won't be a compulsory thing, it will be an optional as all of this. Let's name it country code picker text field. Okay, so I copied all the available codes from the activity what we did for testing. So we have the utils as well as the basic shape. Now we're going to set the parameters. So the parameters will be the one that will customize the whole text input as well as everything around it. So in here we need the parameters of the outline text field because we're going to make it as look like a outline text field. So first let's get these two parameters, that will be modifier and enable. After that we're going to use the text field text style. We have a label here. If we didn't use a outline text field, we would have been using placeholder instead of a label, but as we are using a outline text field, we can actually go with the label and don't need the placeholder. So in here we are going to use show error instead of is error. If show error is triggered, that will make us show the error. So it is kind of like a something that will trigger the is error, and if show error is disabled, the validation won't be doing anything. For visual transformation, it will be automatically handled. Keyboard option and keyboard action, we need these two things. So let's go with the modifier for first. So use the default modifier and just make these changes: fill max width and padding of 16 and 5. Then we have the enabled. So text input field enabled will be called from there. Enabled equal to enabled. Next we have our text style. Okay, so the text style. So there is little bit concern about the text style. In here we have a label and we can also use a placeholder. So what this two does actually, you see when I change it to placeholder from label, the size changed in here. Let's see the difference between these two, the label and the placeholder. So when it's a label, if you type something, the label goes on top and it actually looks great in my thing. I don't know if you like or not, but I actually like it very much when there is something like that. So when you type something, there the label changes or like goes up, and when you don't have anything, it will show like as a placeholder. But for case of placeholder, it is quite different and it is the basic vanilla one. So you type and nothing comes up, nothing changes, it is the same old layout. So that is the difference between placeholder and label. So in here I have the label but I don't have the placeholder. We can actually keep both the placeholder and the label and make it a unique way if you want it. By default it will be null. So this is just to get every option available from this outline text field. So the one that goes up, this is our label. The label says phone number, and the hint stays, that's the placeholder, says enter your phone number. So if we enter something, it's gone, but if not, then it stays. I believe the both options are important, and I will place both. Now as a text style, we pass our text style from the parameter, the trailing icon. So this one is optional, and it will be only useful if you want to use it, like in any of the way that you want. Okay, that's now a more readable than before. So on value change, we want to trigger this. So you want to pass the country code, the text itself, the country code and the text, and lastly if the number is valid or not. So this will be also changed when this one is called. And now we need the parameters from this one: view customization, picker customization, background color, show sheet, and item padding. Now let's pass all of this. Okay, so I got a plan, that is to use the value as a parameter. We can actually achieve something with the trailing icon. So right now the trailing icon is showing a dumb thing. Let's change it to this trailing icon, and this value, and on value change these two will work together to make it work. So this is country code, this is value, this is our full number, and this is valid or not. So what we're gonna do, we're going to remove this value field from there so that it can be used from outside, and on value change we're going to return the value using this, and as the trailing icon we're going to pass the trailing icon. So in here we take the value outside and we pass the value as a parameter. So let's do that. We pass the value as a parameter. Now in here we have our value set to this variable, and whenever the value changes, value becomes this phone number. The trailing icon button is clicked. We're going to use this to change the text. Now if we run it, we can actually handle the on click from outside of this class. Yep, it's working. So only thing is to just pass the value as a parameter and then changing some stuff here and there. Okay, so now let's see what we have done so far. First thing is we need to organize these things. Let's change the on value change. Okay, on value change we're going to remove the full number parameter and remove this one. So the full number, if you want, you can combine these two and get the full number. So let's change the value to number, enabled, text style, label, placeholder, trailing icon, show error, keyboard action, keyboard option, shape, colors. On value change, let's move it little top. These are the two parameters that is must needed. Selected country, country list, view customization, picker customization, background, show sheet, item padding. Okay, so we take the context first, then we set our country as the mutable state of selected country, and the selected country is Bangladesh. That is, nothing happens from this auto detection. Then we detect automatically. Then we validate the phone number and save the validation in a boolean. Then our outline text field, we change the value to number that we have this. On value changes, it checks for validation and also pass it back to our previous method using lambda. Then our modifier text style single line, shape, label, placeholder, leading icon, that is our country code picker, trailing icon is error, visual transformation to transform this into beautiful readable UI, enable keyboard option, action and colors. So I can say it looks pretty good and it's working pretty fine. So country code and is valid. We can actually keep it this way. It can be useful in several cases, like action you want to use like a send button like this, and on that way you want to check if the number is valid or not before you actually send the user to the next any action that you prefer, like an intent. The country code, that will be useful for cases you want to store both country code and the number. This is a country code picker app, so you obviously need to pass the country code. So now a little bit things to do, that is to remove this padding. So this can be done from the modifier when we call it, like this modifier. We're just going to pass only the modifier field. So from the main activity, when we are calling it, we can actually pass the modifier along with it, and like for example padding 10 dp to all sides. Okay, so now if we remove the padding, you can see in the preview there is no padding at all, so it's working on that way. Now we have the flexibility to add custom padding as we want in our cases, in your cases, in anyone's cases. So this is with text input field and trailing icon and etc. So I hope right now we can say that we have a complete country code picker. We have one without anything, just the picker, and that can trigger the dialog or the bottom sheet. So we have the dialog in the bottom sheet, like it doesn't show the preview doesn't work, the picker works, and our text field. So all of this is actually like working pretty good. Once again, thank you for watching Tranquilly Coding. I'll see you in the next video.